to Uncorked. I can't believe it. We made it through one episode, and now episode 2. I am Boxer, and of course, we are coming to you, taping this episode from Carfagna's Italian Market off of Gemini and Polaris. And every week, you're going to hear different guests, but the mainstay is Sal Carfagna in the house. Welcome, Sal.
Thank you, Boxer. Welcome to be back.
You got your brother to be here, too. Carmen. Welcome, Carmen.
Thank you, Boxer. Happy to be here.
And we've got Coach with us. Coach, you're going to be talking about wines and stuff. Is that right?
Absolutely. It's great to be here at Carfagna's.
Oh, and by the way, you're going to do beatboxing a little bit later, right?
No.
All right, and we should mention, too, the music that you're hearing underneath. I have a quick story to share. So in the name of, when I was really young, guys, I learned a long time ago to respect other people's families. And so when we were first sending Sal some different music samples, and of course under your commercials we had the traditional Italian music, he's like, is there anything we could do to have more maybe updated, modern? And I thought, I always wanted to ask you if you wanted that, Sal, but I was worried that I would upset you. And the last thing you want to do is in a town where a business has been around since 1937, you don't want to upset the Carfagna family. Because if you upset the Carfagna family, you best just move out of town.
It's not that serious.
So we decided, we went from what, meatball, whatever, to Italian gangsta.
Well, that's the name of just so happens to be the name of the audio. You guys provided these, by the way. I didn't pick out these. The options were meatball and grits or gangsta Italiano. And we landed on gangsta Italiano. And
Are you okay with the theme?
I like it. It has a little bit more upbeat, modern tune to it. You know, it's not the traditional. I'm like, I tell these guys when we do like different things and people are overlaying those musics. To me, it's a bit of a cringe factor. We're not the Italian festival 24/7. We kind of are, but when we do these things, like let's update this a little bit. Let's get a little bit more upbeat, music in there. This is a fun podcast, right? We're giving this little modern twist on things that we're doing here. So why not the music to reflect that?
Yeah, and I learned so much from episode 1. And it looks like we're going to be doing a little more cooking this week. I know coming up, we're going to be talking about meat, your meat departments, wines with Coach, maybe some beatboxing a little bit later. And, of course, the history of Carfagna's. Because if you missed the first episode or didn't get a lot as far as the history, Carfagna's Italian Market and the Carfagna family, you've been in business since 1937. So your history, as I've said before, is very rich. It's very inspiring, to be honest with you, especially, business to be around that long and serving this community. So I'm so excited to be able to, partner with you guys and work with you with iHeartMedia and Carfagna's. But first, should we start the tradition of, or do we uncork? Should we uncork first? Is that what we should do? Or
I think we should, yeah.
Who's going to do the honors this week?
Well, we have Coach from Robert Biale Vineyards here, and he is going to be doing the honors. This week, we are featuring Robert Biale Winery. The wine that we're going to be uncorking is Black Chicken Zinfadel, and there's a fantastic story behind not only that bottle, but the Robert Biale Winery as a whole. And we're very fortunate to have Coach here, and he's going to be explaining that a little bit later. But Coach, without further ado,
let's do this.
So, Black Chicken wine?
Pressure's on.
I know. My sound skills are not showing.
The anticipation's killing me, Coach. This is one of my personal favorites. The Zinfandel grape especially, it has a very, and we talked about that grape last week with our Downtown Zin that we have, one of our house wines. But a great all-around wine for that can please many palates. You have that fruit forwardness from the Zinfandel grape. It has the dryness from the red wine.
Hey! Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to get to more of the wine and what that would go with, too. I'm curious what you're going to say that complements food-wise.
Well, we just so happen to have a fantastic pairing for it today. and we are going to be cooking
Amazing.
up our famous bacon wrap filet mignon.
Is that what that was?
This is our number one steak in our butcher shop, week in and week out, and we are very proud to cook these up for you guys. We're going to be firing it in a cast iron skillet.
Wait, that's the number. I got to take a picture of you guys quick because I want to make sure to get this on social. Okay, so that's your number one seller in the meat department.
Week in and week out.
Wow.
This is a customer favorite for many years. And today we're going to be cooking it up, cast iron skillet. We got some Wagyu beef tallow that we're going to be frying it in there. We're going to keep it simple, salt and pepper on the fry. And then we're going to, after it's cooked, we're going to do a nice little pan sauce. We're going to show you guys how to do a pan sauce with the cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
Utilizing the beef drippings, utilizing the wine that we're going to be sipping from. Throw a little fresh garlic, a little fresh thyme in there, and that's going to be our sauce that's going to accompany this.
Hey, not to put you guys on the spot, especially you, Sal, because I know you started at many different jobs, but you're also a butcher. You know your meat. How did that start? How did the bacon wrap filet start? Do you know?
That is a good question. And really how it is if you look at a filet mignon, right, it can be wonky sometimes, depending on the cut, depending on where it's at. We use the bacon to wrap it around to keep them all nice and uniform, to keep it all nice and tight. Most people, when they cook a filet mignon, to keep it very even on the cook surface, they'll wrap butcher twine around it. And so why use butcher twine when you can use bacon, right?
Yep,
and so,
true.
So we wrap ours with bacon. It keeps it all nice and tight together so that you get a even cooking throughout the whole process.
All right. Well, if you didn't hear in the very beginning, this is Uncorked. Of course, every week we spotlight Carfagna's and some of the new exciting things they have, also the history. And today we're going to be talking about the meat department. We have Sal Carfagna, the general manager of Carfagna's, Carmen Carfagna, his brother, who's the director of manufacturing. Coach is here. He's going to be getting into the wines in just a little bit. Let's talk the history, though, of Carfagna's, the meat department. Is that how Carfagna's technically started?
It is how we started. And I'm going to give you a little history here. We're going to go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
All right. The year is 1937. Present day New Albany. My great-grandfather, our great-grandfather, Saturnino Carfagna, when he immigrated to the United States, he had a job working as a meat packer. And he eventually had a small farm, which is in present-day New Albany. And he had some, small livestock, chickens, and, a lot of vegetables and stuff.
He had a dairy cattle. He actually would sell the milk and cheese in the local farmer market, where he would sell all of his produce, and his fresh cheese and milk was downtown New Albany. There is now a Brewdog brewery there.
That's where you told me this story in our CEOs You Should Know podcast. So that's where this was. That's where it took place.
So that's where he got his start to build up his capital. And his farm was located just down the street from there.
Wow.
And that's where he sold the majority of his product.
So the Great Depression happens. And coming out of the Great Depression, they had the Great New Deal, right? And that was government grants to local farmers that were to boost the farming business, to add more lights, to add more equipment, what they could do. So he got the grant as a farmer, and like any good Italian, he opened up a butcher shop. And he took the butcher shop, and he was supplying his produce was the produce he sold out of his butcher shop. And at this butcher shop was a small butcher shop, and it's in the Linden area.
Okay.
Is where it was. Single aisle store with a really nice meat counter and a chicken house in the back that they would slaughter chickens to order. So the old ladies, the funny story is that all the old Italian ladies would go there and feel chickens to see which one still had an egg inside of it, because they wanted one more egg, one extra egg as a little bonus. That's just how that's just how we Italians are.
I love it.
Always looking for a deal. And so they would butcher fresh chickens, slaughter them right there in the back. And But that's how we became known. We became known for Italian imports, fresh, the specialty produces, and the specialty meats. And he was, first and foremost, we were a butcher shop.
Okay.
And did a lot of poultry out of that place as well. But then we transformed more into beef and pork as we went on. So we moved multiple locations, a couple locations, I should say, until we finally landed on 161, which is where I think most people know us.
Right.
Being there for 50 years. And we were there 50 years to the date until we moved to Gemini. But 161 brings back a lot of great memories for us. You know, I think people always miss the nostalgia of it, which we do as well. And the old school butchers, the butcher feel there, you know, the old school market.
Yeah.
But Sal and I we always think back to all the great memories we had there. Whole cattle, we used to butcher whole cattle, and we had sides hanging in the back. And it was funny because we used to have kindergarten field trips that came in. We did it as kindergartens too. And they'd do a whole field trip around the market, and we'd show them the different nuances of a grocery store. And then the big thing was we'd go in the back, and like Rocky, everybody would tape up their hand and punch the side of a cow.
We basically grew up in that market. And these field trips, you know, you're learning about the food pyramid and whatnot. And my dad would take the class around, and we'd go through the whole food pyramid, right? But it always culminated with going back into that back butcher shop. When that started, you know, that was how business was done. We would partner with the local the local cattle ranchers, right? We had a meat processing facility that was up north in the Ashland area that would bring down the half sides of beef. They would come in a refrigerated truck. We would take them off that truck and put them on our meat hooks and then wheel them into that back cooler. There was so much product back there that the roof actually started to bow because there was so much weight on those racks, you know. On these old trail systems that, you know, you have all the meat hooks going there. But, you know, that's my earliest memories of Carfagna's is the back butcher shop.
Absolutely.
My dad's working there. You know, my dad and my uncle, they worked 7 days a week, and they were butchers through and through.
Yeah.
There was not a piece of meat that wasn't in our case that they did not touch, and they did everything by hand, and we supplied a lot of the restaurants in the area too. Back then, 161 was the Polaris corridor, and there was restaurants all up and down that row, and majority of those restaurants would get their fresh cut steaks from Carfagna's, and we supplied them. As time went on, the USDA started to introduce the boxed beef, and they started to move away from the half sides. There was some regulations that happened with the mad cow disease that plagued the U.S., and that's what prompted the USDA to start that process. Now these restaurants could order their whole primals, and if they had somebody that was skilled enough in their back kitchen to cut some steaks, they would do it themselves. And so that wholesale business kind of transitioned. However, that fresh cut meat never changed at Carfagna's. And that's exactly still how we do it today. And that's one of our key differentiators. All of our meat that you see in that case, these guys were here early in the morning, 6 a.m. or before, and they are back in that meat cutting room, and they're getting all the steaks prepped and ready to go, cutting everything by hand.
What I find incredible, Sal and Carmen, is your meat department is still your core business, right? It's still the core business, your core revenue stream.
That's our mothership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. Your great-grandfather, side note real quick, and I know we have to get to other things. With your great-grandfather, was that clearly he had lots of skills and trades, but as a butcher, was that his original trade? Was that his skill?
Yeah. He was.
I mean, I know he's a farmer, but I mean,
this man had a lot of skills.
He had a lot of skills. He was a jack of all trades.
Okay.
But when he moved to the United States, he had a brother that was worked for a meat packer, and he had a job for him, and so he came here and worked as a meat packer.
Yeah.
Save up some money, go back to Italy, leave the money, and leave my great grandmother pregnant, and then come back. And he would
Could that happen today?
He did that, 3-4 times as he could until he had enough money to move the whole family back here. So my grandfather was the first of of his siblings to be born in the United States. I think half were born in Italy and half were born here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And when that happened, he had I guess gained enough skill as in the meatpacking industry as a butcher to realize that he had some skill there, and he was a driven guy and an entrepreneurial mind, and knew he always wanted to be his own business owner. It's the great American dream.
I think I've asked you this before, Sal. Forgive me. Do you guys still have family in Italy?
Yes, we do.
Wow. Where at?
They're in Vasto Girardi, is the Carfagnas.
Okay.
It's in Molise, which is south of Abruzzo. Abruzzo and Molise used to be one region, then they split. It's, so Molise is south of Abruzzo. Molise is a very small region in Italy.
Okay.
There's not a huge city there. You can liken it to the North Dakota of the United States.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of central peninsula in Italy, and our family's up in the mountains. But they still own the same house that my great-grandfather was born in.
Amazing.
And they still live in that house.
I know we have to get to our cooking demo in just seconds. Sal and Carmen, when it comes to consolidating and having everything under one roof, has that made everything more efficient nowadays for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One, because we have our manufacturing plant, which we can leave for a future podcast.
Sure.
But we do a lot of prep work there as well, and a lot of storage for some of the stuff that we buy, especially our fresh meats and different things. So we're constantly going back and forth.
Okay.
When we had the restaurant separated from the market, it was, you had a lot more avenues of travel for just, ourselves.
Yeah.
And consolidating everything here, not only did it help us internally, but it also helped the customer to have the full experience of Carfagna's. And that was the biggest thing for us, was to give the customers the full experience, give them a reason to come out of the house, because we can't deliver groceries, and we don't deliver groceries to your door like some of the bigger chain stores can do.
Yeah.
So we need to have a reason for people to come out. We want to be that experiential market that people can that want to leave their house to come to and spend some time with us. Eat and try things and learn about things, and all things Italian, all things meat. And
You brought up a very interesting point. Why a family market and a store versus? How do you compete against the big boys? Does it come down to customer service where they don't forget you? Business-wise, I want to support you because you're a small business, and I love the Carfagnas. But there must be other reasons.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's go back to the 80s.
Sure.
Okay. When Carfagna's moved to 161 from the Linden neighborhood, we were a pioneer in the sense that we were one of the first supermarkets. We offered everything. Not only did we have our butcher shop, but we had baby food, paper products, dog food. It was a one-stop shop, right? What we know as our quote-unquote, supermarkets today, right? That's what Carfagna's was on 161. It wasn't this independent grocer like all the little corner stores, a bodega type of thing, right? This was a true supermarket. And now, with the big box stores coming in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, that changed everything, right? They had multiple store locations. They had their own distribution. They were able to undercut all of our pricing. We had to adjust, and we found our niche in specialty grocery. And that's when we started to import a lot more, lean heavily on the European imports, not just Italian products, but Eastern European products, French products, Spanish products. We started getting heavy into wine. We started getting heavy into cheese. And then, obviously, the butcher shop was the mainstay, right? That was the flagship, and that was the draw to everybody. And then we differentiated ourselves by bringing in specialty grocery.
Yeah.
That trickled back into more local products, right? And you start to find your niche on these different products.
Right.
And now you are offering other products that the big box stores cannot bring in, right? Because they have to deal with contracts, they have to deal with store placement, they have to deal with everything that the corporations will, I guess, harness for that location, right? We do not deal with any contracts on any of our suppliers, including our meat. That's another differentiator. We can shop around. We are able to source the best price and making sure that they adhere by our standards. No antibiotics, no steroids, sustainably farmed, sustainably raised, right? All of these things that our customers want, which we want, right? And that's what we say. We always say, give the customer what they want, right? But these are the same things that we provide that we want for our families as well, for our children, and that's just who we are. That's our identity, and we pass that on to our customers.
Sal and Carmen, real quick though, in this world of instant gratification, and you talked about delivery, Carmen, earlier, is there any future in that for Carfagna's? Is that something you're even going to go touch?
We dabble with it. We have Instacart, right? That is a third-party delivery grocery service.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in there. But what we're trying to do is actually launch our butcher shop e-commerce. So we have launched our butcher bundles, which are curated boxed meat that we can ship all across the U.S. And it's 3 to 5 day business shipping. We're able to offer free shipping because of that. And so if you go online to carfagnas.com, go to the shop portion of it, carfagnashop.com, and then you can see our butcher bundles. Those are able to be delivered right to your doorstep. So our fresh meat case can be, I know, right?
That's so wild.
Yeah.
So we always adapt, right? The climate and the consumerism is constantly changing, right? And so you have to adapt. Yeah, we don't have delivery drivers in-house, and we don't have people picking and packing groceries and taking it to your car. Is that a possibility in the future? Everything's possible in the future.
Sure.
But right now what we can do is do things like Sal was saying with our butcher bundles and different things that we can sell online that we can ship straight to you. And with this Instacart is a nice little app as well. If you're in the delivery range, you can get delivery through Instacart.
Yeah.
But things are always changing. But I think the biggest thing for us was that we know that when we get people in store and give them the full experience of Carfagna's and get them to, feel the experience that we want you to feel.
Yeah.
And the love that we take and the love that our employees give out as well. And the knowledge that they have, we want people to experience that so that you want to come here, you want to spend time here. Because delivering stuff straight to your door, you don't get that connection, you don't get that personal connection.
No, I agree with you.
So you have to come in to really understand that and to be like, okay, I now know I can see it, I can feel it, now I trust them to give me some great products.
Yeah.
And that's what we really want customers to have is our trust. And we know we have that with a lot of our customers as well. But that's the thing we're always striving for.
Yeah.
And let's face it, COVID has changed so much. And the e-commerce grocery aspect of everything took off with COVID. And we're getting up to speed with that. And we want to be able to offer that to our customers. And it's something that we are looking at into the future. But your one-stop shop type of place like us, these mom and pop places, you need to have your own fleet. You need to do all this thing. How can you outsource a delivery service like that to offer all of these things? So it's into the future. It's things that we're looking at, and we're very proud to launch at least, which we think was the hardest portion. How do you get fresh meat to people's doorsteps? So if we can figure out the hardest thing first, dry good products are going to be easy to add on after that. So let's start with the hardest thing first. We launched that. It just launched about like the end of Q3 last year. So we're still we're still fairly new into it.
What's the furthest you ship out to or have?
Continental U.S.
Okay.
So
California, Washington State.
Are there regulations if someone in, let's say, I don't know, Norway wanted meat for you? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if we're quite into the export business, export beef business yet, Boxer. But I love the ingenuity thinking, right? Thinking outside the box there, brother.
Sal,
I don't know who you have in Norway that needs meat, Boxer, but tell them not yet.
Yeah.
It's where my family's from.
Have you had the grandpa sausage from Carfagna's Market? Guess what, Norway? It's coming, baby.
It's coming. So that's the nice thing about these butcher bundles is that it's not just steaks and stuff, but we have our most popular items available there. The bacon wrap fillets, the meatball mix that we make here in-house daily, the fresh sausage that's ground daily, if not hourly, here in-house. How many varieties of sausage do we have that we make? I mean, there's
always 10 in the case, always 10 plus in the case. We have a lot of different recipes that we don't make year round. Andouille sausage, right? That's more of like a Mardi Gras type thing. You'll have our Abruzzi sausage that we have available frozen. We don't make that all the time.
Yeah.
Jalapeno cheddar brats is more of a summer item I know, man.
Oh, they're good. They're good, Boxer.
We're actually going to be featuring those this upcoming weekend. We have a event called Opening Day at Carfagna's, where we are partnering with the Columbus Clippers to bring about opening day here at Carfagna's to celebrate the start of baseball season. We're going to be sampling out our homemade brats, our homemade cheese brats, and our jalapeno cheddar brats. All of those bratwursts are made with local ill-mannered brewery. So our beer that we feature in those is we partner with a local brewery that supplies that beer for us. And so it's a fantastic product. And if you are here April 6th, I know that this podcast, I don't know if it's going to be launched in time, but be on the lookout for those. And we have obviously more of these monthly events. It's more of a food sampling. Out in this Piazza area in the classroom where we're at, we set it up and we have a food show, right, where people can come in and they can sample foods from all of our different departments. Where we're featuring a product that might be related to the theme, right, the opening day thing. We're going to have Lucille from the Clippers here. We're going to be giving away Clipper tickets.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have a backdrop. People can take pictures with the mascot. We're going to have our NIL player, local collegiate hockey player.
Who's that? Who is it?
His name is Damian Carfagna. No relation, I swear to you. I swear to you. And I know you guys aren't going to believe me, but he's from New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
We had no
And there's
idea.
no relation.
There's no relation. Yeah, no relation. He's a East Coast Carfagna. Carfagna is a very prevalent name in Italy.
Yeah.
And there's many Carfagnas all throughout Italy.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't think it's as prevalent as like a Smith here in the U.S. or Johnson, but it is a very prevalent name. Damian Carfagna, local collegiate hockey player, he'll be here. And baseball giveaways, we're partnering with the Westerville Golf Center and their batting cages. We're going to be giving away some batting cage rounds for the kids. And if you are a Little League coach, you come in, you sign up for our drawing, and if you win, you get an end-of-the-season pizza party sponsored by Carfagna's.
Oh, I like that. That's a deal right there.
Mm-hmm.
We have Coach coming up with wine in just a few minutes here, but first I'm smelling a burner. I'm smelling it, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the bacon wrap fillets over there.
We're ready to go.
Let's
bacon
do
wrap
it.
filet mignons here, you guys. These I'm going to fry in this cast iron skillet. The Wagyu beef tallow is ready to go. I seasoned this with Arnaud salt. This is from France. This is infused with black pepper, so it has the black pepper and the sea salt all ready to go.
Arnaud.
Arnaud. Yep. This is imported from France. It's actually harvested from the wild salt marshes in France, which is pretty cool. So these are heavily seasoned all the way around, and we're going to drop these right into this cast iron skillet.
Oh, listen to that.
It's a beautiful sound.
Really is.
That and wine being uncorked. I think you can't get better than those two sounds right there, folks.
So, Sal, you just dropped the bacon wrap fillets in the skillet. It's on one side. How long? How warm are we cooking this?
This is medium high temp. I don't want to get a lot of smoke on this. I want to have a nice cook process through it. Right? We're not going to pop it in the oven or anything like that. I'm just going to do it on this cast iron skillet. So I'm keeping it at a medium to medium high temperature so that we can really get a nice pan roast on this. And throughout that entire cook process, I'm going to cook on both sides. So sear one side, sear the other, and then we're actually going to sear all four sides of the bacon as well so that we get a nice even cook. We'll then pull them off. We will let them rest, get that internal temperature to rise up, and then we'll make our pan sauce.
Wait, okay, it's not going to be a surprise to anyone here, but full disclosure, I'm not a cook at all. So how are you going to do the bacon part of it? Do you set the fillets up on its side? Is that what you do?
You got it, buddy.
Absolutely. So you cook the bacon on each side. All right. So you get a nice crust on both sides of the fillet where the beef is visible there, right? Get a nice crust on both sides. Then sear off all sides. Just turn it on its side. You almost treat it like 4 sides there. But the best part about these bacon wrap fillets is that as you start searing that bacon, you get that bacon fat into the pan, and that helps flavor the steak. And it is absolutely incredible. So I wanted to talk a few things about what makes us unique here before we switch to wines. A little bit about our butcher shop, and still some of the unique stuff that we're doing that we've always done, but that we're still doing so that people understand that, I know we have a new store here, and you might lose some of that nostalgia-ness with the old place, but we're still that same butcher shop. The Carfagna's that sign that's above the butcher shop,
right?
That's the original sign from the 161 store that was above was the facade of the store.
I thought so.
And we took that off and put it above the meat department there to let people know we're still the same Carfagna. We're still doing the same stuff, right? We still have the same bacon wrap fillets. Our ground beef is still fresh ground in-house daily. That's all of our steak trim. And we grind.
1 second on that, Carmen. Our ground beef, what differentiates from us from other people, we are zero waste, as Carmen mentioned, so all of our steak trimmings is going into our 100% pure ground beef, but we also utilize whole muscle. So we're using whole muscle grinds, all right? What that means is we're not utilizing a 10-pound, tube of a bunch of different, cuts and all that kind of stuff. We utilize just one cut for our ground beef, right, to go along with the steak trimmings. And then we offer the ground sirloin, nothing but top butts, right? We also offer our ground chuck. Those are just 100% chuck rolls. And that keeps that integrity on there. And obviously we do this throughout the day, so our grinds are made hourly.
Why? And guys, I hope this isn't a dumb question, but just to educate, why is that so important versus, and I'm not asking you to diss anyone, that's not what we're here to do, but what is that one of the big differences, and why is that so important versus what someone else does?
Tenderness, freshness. You're not utilizing a whole bunch of different steak, right? It's all from, think about it, like you have in one batch of our grind, you're going to have maybe 4 pieces of meat that are going to be grind into there, right? And we're able to control that. We're able to control the grind process. It's not already pre-ground tube. And here's the thing with ground beef opposed to ground chicken and ground pork.
Yeah.
The more that you grind it, the tougher that it gets. So our grind process is a very quick process. 1 to 2 grinds, passes through on that meat grinder, and then we're out the door. The more that you handle it, and if you've made meatballs before or hamburgers and you're starting over, re-rolling and patting and starting over, you're those proteins, right, that you're basically you're binding them all together, and it's creating a much more tougher end product. Now, pork, on the other hand, does not act like that. The more that you process pork, it actually becomes more tender, right? And same thing with chicken. You can continue to grind it. However, beef, it's the end product that makes the difference. So it's fresher. You know where it's coming from, and it's much more tender.
The other thing we do that's really cool is all of our all of the servers on the meat counter are also semi-trained butchers themselves.
Oh, really?
And just slightly. What they'll do is you can come in and order a whole tenderloin or a whole New York strip loin, and those guys will take it, trim it, and cut it to your liking. And so if you want 2-inch steaks, 1-inch steaks, whatever, those guys know how to trim it properly, cut you nice steaks exactly to your liking. Same with the whole tenderloins. They'll cut you fillets exactly to your liking, trim it, tie it up for a roast if you want it, and give it right back to you, all done fresh in-house while you're waiting. It's something that we've always prided ourselves on, and it's something unique to us that we offer that service daily, weekly. We do. We'll have sales going on for the whole strip loins. Those are really, really popular. Some of the new stuff that we have in this case too with this is this Florentine porterhouse. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's standing up on its bone. It's a thick cut porterhouse steak, about 2 inches thick, and it's standing up on the bone. And they'll in Florence, it's like the famous cut there, right? It's a porterhouse, real thick, and they grill it just like that on its bone, stand it up, slice it down. It's fantastic. We got those. We've got some high-end pork coming in, Duroc pork. That's going to be brand new.
It's in.
It's in already.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. It's fantastic. We have air-chilled chicken.
What does that mean, air-chilled chicken?
Yeah, we'll go into this. You know, our beef, right? Carmen mentioned that these porterhouses. This is all USDA prime or choice, high choice, certified Angus. So certified Angus is the breed, right?
Right.
And this coincides with Duroc. Duroc is a breed of hog. So our beef that we utilize, certified Angus, which is the black Angus steer, and certified Angus means that you're getting high choice, which is the top 1/3 of all choice beef that is able to be labeled Angus, certified Angus beef. And then our short loins, that T-bone, right?
Yeah.
Those Florentine steaks is the best of both worlds. It has a New York strip on one side and has the filet mignon on the other. It is the famous steak that Carmen mentioned that they make in Florence. Duroc pork. Our Duroc pork, we partner with a Bieler's farm. They're out of Iowa. They have been raising Duroc pork since the 1800s. Before Iowa was a state, this family has been in business and has been raising these hogs the same way. It's a heritage breed, which means that it is how it's been like that for generations, right? Since humans have been raising these hogs.
Any idea where they're out of in Iowa? I know that's real specific. The other reason I ask is because I grew up around there, so on a hog farm.
I'm sure you guys can find that out.
John, we'll find it.
You want to get on the Google and type in Bielers, Beelers, right? We got technology in this room. Let's utilize it.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
And find the location of that farm. So what makes it better in the differentiator on that? The marbling on this pork. Okay, and they raise it all sustainably. This is cage free. Okay, this is 100% non-GMO, vegetarian fed, no antibiotics, no steroids. These are exactly how you should be raising these hogs.
Sure.
And
by the way, are you guys through the years, and especially the last few years, anyone that deals with meat, are you getting more pressure being asked, hey, non-GMOs, were these animals in a cage? But I mean, do you get that kind of?
You get that. And obviously that's more so in recent years. Netflix has been posting documentary after documentary of the meat industry, and you have to be upfront with customers and let them know.
Yeah.
These are our partners. This is who we are sourcing from. These are their practices.
Yeah.
Our beef, the local ranchers that we partner with, we go up and we walk their farms and we meet these people, and they are doing it the most pristine way. Up north, the certified Angus beef ranchers, they partner with a local produce processing plant, and all of the produce scraps are normally trashed, right? They're in a giant food processor and they're getting rid of them, right? And these local farmers said, hold on a second, we'll take that off of your hands, and they're actually feeding their cattle with it.
Oh, that's
so it is
great,
all vegetable fed, up and to the point, and then grass fed, obviously, right? But the way that they do this product, the way that they raise these steers is just absolutely phenomenal. No antibiotics, no steroids. It's all natural. It's local. These guys are doing it the right way. The majority of them are Mennonite, so they're not quite Amish, right? But they are Mennonites farmers, and they raise these cattle, and then they also raise produce, and we also buy produce from their communities as well, and sell it here during the summer seasons when all of that is in season. The Duroc pork.
Oh, sorry, John. I think found the location for the
Mars. Looks like it's northeast of South Sioux City.
Oh, Sioux City. Okay, that area. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, it was just curious.
Northeast of Sioux City. So,
Thanks, John.
Yeah, that pork, all of the care that goes into that comes through on the final product. The marbling on the Duroc pork is so intense. It looks like a piece of Wagyu beef. It's phenomenal, and the tenderness, right? The flavor, the full flavor of it all. It's a very clean product and very high quality premium product. And now we also mentioned the air chilled chicken.
Yes.
And you were wondering about that.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Air chilled. So when we process poultry, it gets to the point where you have the whole fryer, right? The whole bird, and that whole fryer goes through a water bath process to kill off any excess bacteria. That water bath is obviously changed, right? It's never reused, but they do treat it. It might be chlorinated, right, to kill off any bacteria, residual bacteria in the water. Air chilled eliminates all of that, and when they go through that process, it actually goes through almost like a conveyor belt through a refrigeration, and it's almost like a dry aged chicken process, right? And they're using that to kill off the bacteria and to reduce any kind of bacteria. What it does, it retains all the natural juices from the chicken. You do not get a waterlogged piece of chicken. So if you've ever cooked chicken at home and you're maybe chunking it up and you're pan frying it in the pan, and a lot of water leaches out,
right,
and you can't get a nice brown on it, right? You're almost like steaming this chicken, and by the time it starts browning, it's all dried out, right? This
happens to me all the time.
This chicken, it cooks so pure and true. You get that nice, even brown on it every single time. It retains all its natural juices and retaining, obviously, that full chicken flavor as well. Again, cage-free, no antibiotics, no steroids. It's just exactly how that product should be. And so when we talk about we're a specialty grocery store, right, and we have all of these specialty products, now we are beginning to really expand on that specialty offering in our meat department as well with these high-end premium meat products.
Speaking of chicken, Coach, I don't know how many glasses of black chicken Zinfadel you've had. You've been quiet there for a while. Have you had any yet?
No,
wait, let me get the microphone here.
No, I have not. I'm just fascinated by watching the beautiful steaks being cooked.
Oh, I know.
And just to let you know, this microphone smells of meat, which is amazing.
It's by design, Coach.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to pouring some glasses for everyone to try and to talk a little bit about Carfagnas and the Biales.
Yeah, well, let's do that. I'll tell you what, you want to go pour, and then I'll hand you the microphone when you're done. We should also mention in our cooking portion here, the bacon wrap fillets have already been flipped to the other side. They've just once, right?
Just
to
once.
the other side.
We got a nice little crust on there.
Look at that. I mean, how close are they, Sal, from being done? Are they pretty close? Or?
We're probably 30% there. This is a very thick cut steak, and we're pan roasting this through and through. So, as we pass the reins over to Coach, these things will continue to roast in this pan and get really nice for us.
All right, Coach. I know you want to describe a little bit the black chicken Zinfandel. We should also mention too, Coach. Who are you with again? Who do you represent?
I'm with Robert Biale Vineyards. I've been with the family for about 20 years. I started in Aldo Biale's garage. And to avoid confusion, one of the partners, childhood friends of Bob Biale's, was Dave Pramick. And to avoid confusion with too many Daves, they called me Coach because I coached the local high school boys and girls varsity soccer for about 15 years. Left the boys program to start the first ever women's college soccer program at Solano with Jeff Cardinal, did that for 8. I made so much money coaching soccer, I retired to the wine industry. No, as everybody knows, it's a labor of love, and I was so gracious for the Biales and the Pramicks to allow me to follow a dream and give back to my community. So now I don't coach much anymore, but I do. I'm a great fan. And actually, the last time I was in town, I got a chance to go to the Columbus game, which was awesome. And they won 5-0, which was even better. But I wanted to talk about the Biales. You know, listening to the Carfagna story, it's so very similar to the Biale story. The Biales immigrated from Piemonte, Italy, around just before the 1920s. They were farmers back in Italy, and when they came to California, that's what they ended up doing. Pietro, Robert's grandfather, found work up on Greer Ranch on Mount Veeder, and this was right around the time that Prohibition started, and it was a vineyard that survived by a little-known fact that you were allowed to make home wine during Prohibition. But Greer Ranch also made wine for the church. Christina and Pietro had their only son, Aldo, up on that mountain. And when they made enough money, they moved to the valley floor where the Biale Ranch is today. And they planted orchards, walnuts, and plums. They planted produce. But mainly the Biales were known in town for selling eggs. We had a large flock of leghorn chickens, which are all white, and we sold eggs over the old party line phone system. Now, today's youth doesn't really know what a party line phone system is. I didn't, because I just never grew up with one. But it was a phone system that the entire neighborhood, sometimes the entire town, would share. And the story is that you were not supposed to pick up the phone unless you heard your ring. But when I asked my grandma about it, she said, "Oh, we heard the ring, and all us ladies ran to the phone. It was like our soap operas, right?" Generally, a call to Biale was, Pietro, I want, a dozen eggs, a couple vines of tomatoes, and so on. Now, Pietro got a better paying job at the end of town at a rock quarry, and tragically, in 1942, he died in a mining accident, leaving a 13-year-old Aldo Biale as man of the house with him and his mom on a very large farm. Now, he's looking at the books, and he's trying to figure out a way to make more money for him and his mom. And he sees that we're getting $25 a ton selling our grapes to the co-op. We weren't making wine, we were farmers, and so we were selling our produce. And he knew how much the co-op was selling the wine for and felt cheated. And he says, how hard is winemaking? So he writes a letter back to Italy to an uncle who was a family winemaker, and got some advice and gives a book on winemaking. And that harvest, he hedges his bets. He sells all but 1 ton to the co-op, and goes about making wine. Now, he's reading that he has to submerge the berries, the grapes, into the juice, the free run, to extract the color for the wine. So he's going around the barn looking for something to use, and he settles on his dad's old Manzanita walking stick. And it was almost like stirring a giant pot of pasta or something, or pasta sauce, and he's up there just, going away. And so he gets through harvest and fermentation. And come springtime, he tastes the wine, and he thinks it's pretty good. So he calls up his dad's, the Italian families that buy the eggs and produce from the Biales, and pours them the wine. And they said, "Aldo, what are you trying to do here?" And he's like, "I would love to sell you this wine to make more money for me and my mom." And obviously wanted to help this young man out any way they could due to the tragedy. But they said, "Aldo, how would we let you know that we want this wine?" And Aldo, with a big old grin, says, "I figured that one out. When you order your eggs, just let me know. I'll deliver it on Friday." Now, they are obviously thinking a little bit more than this 13-year-old. They said, "Aldo, if we call up on that party line, your nosy neighbor's going to be listening in, knowing you're illegally making and selling wine. But more importantly, that we're buying wine from a minor." And so they came up with a code word, and that code word was black chicken. Since all the chickens were white, and anybody listening wouldn't think any different because the Biales were known with all the chicken. And this went on with these select Italian families for quite some time. When in 1991, his son Robert and Dave Kramick and Al Perry formed Robert Biale Vineyards, and we specialize in Zinfadel. This is what Aldo grew up farming. It was one of the most widely planted grapes in California and in the Napa Valley, up until the Paris tasting of '76, where Chateau Montelena and Stag's Leap beat the French with Chardonnay and Cab. And but now in the Napa Valley, Zinfadel's only 2%, when it used to be so much greater. And so it's our mission statement to preserve the heritage and the legacy of Zinfandel in the Napa Valley and beyond. And so we are a house of Zin and Petit Syrah, and we do make a couple of Italian varietals because Christina, Aldo's mom, loves Sangiovese, so we have some Sangiovese. And just more recently, we had a section of our vineyard that was better suited for a white varietal, and so we planted Greco, mostly well known for Greco de Tufu. And so it's pretty exciting, but Zinfandel is our focus. Maybe about 10 years ago, we came to Ohio, and we were looking, got distributorship, and we met the Carfagnas and Raj, who works here, and they have since become kind of our favorite place. Like I said, the story are similar. The ingenuity, the work ethic of the Biales and the Carfagnas is absolutely awesome, and it revolves around food. Like I'm salivating. I love everything about food, and one of the things that we kind of, I think we give Carfagna a lot of wine that normally doesn't get to distribution. It's just been a great partnership for us, and we would like to continue that. And so it's an honor to be here, and thank you for having me on this show. And I hope you enjoy the black chicken. And the last thing, I just kind of wanted to go back to that punch down stick. Now, this is an amazing story. And it was actually noticed by the Smithsonian Museum of American History. And so now you can find Aldo's punch down stick on display in the new, well, not so new now, food section. There's a little wine area, and Aldo's punch down stick is on display there. So it's quite an honor for an immigrant to come around and to be recognized for the accomplishments of a hardworking 13-year-old. So.
Wow, that was amazing. Coach,
it's a great
Coach,
story,
that was an incredible I was not expecting that at all. Thank you so much. By the way, quick question for you regarding the percentage of Zinfadel you were talking about. Nowadays, you were saying it's what, like 3% or something like that. What can I ask? Why is it? Why such a low percentage now?
A lot of it has to do with there's kind of a hierarchy. The noble grapes from the Cabernet, Chardonnay, Pinot, Sauv Blanc, and is kind of and it's long been that kind of sought after. They felt that for whatever reason people put Cabernet on a pedestal. For me, there's so many grape varietals growing. In Italy alone, there's like 2,200 different wild grape varietals, and we haven't even begun to explore some of those that are could be made into wine. So there's a lot of different varietals, and like I said, Zinfandel is kind of uniquely what we call they call it California's grape or America's grape. Now it goes back to the first kind of history of it arriving is on the East Coast around 1820. It's murky. I've heard 1820, 1840, but it originated in a nursery on the East Coast, and then kind of migrated to the West Coast, and really kind of exploded after about 1850, mainly due to the gold rush. And the other thing was that viticulturists brought these vines out to make wine, and they planted all these different varietals, and Zinfandel tended to do the best. Very hardy grape. Now they've traced Zinfandel back. Originally, it first got traced to Primitivo, and UC Davis did a lot of tests, and they found that they were actually identical grapes. And then from there, they traced it back to Croatia to, I can't pronounce the name of it, but also genetically identical to Primitivo. And so as you can see, just like, the immigrants coming to America, so did a lot of their food and their plant and their way of life. And so, first made the journey to Italy, and then Italy to the United States. And that Zinfandel is this amazing grape that really takes on where it's grown. So we do about 15 different single vineyard Zinfandels, and you would think that, what, they're all Zinfandel, what's the deal? But it really takes on the site and the microclimates and the different weather. And just before I came here, because I was a little nervous about doing a podcast, but brushing up on my history, I was talking in a discussion with Bob Biale about Primitivo versus Zinfadel, and he said, well, he was the Primitivo, the Italian, grown in Italy, takes on like an earthiness, is a little bit more earthy than what is planted in the Napa Valley. And, for me, the Napa Valley Zinfandel has a little bit more of a spice box, a little bit more pepper than this our Sonoma product, which is a little bit more fruit forward. And so it's really a fantastic journey to explore Zinfandel from all these different sites. And again, it's a pleasure of mine to be able to come out and to meet the Carfagnas. They've been out to the winery, their families, and it's a pleasure to come here. But it's also a pleasure to share this wonderful wine with everybody, especially with food.
And it is wonderful. I don't know if you've had a taste yet of it, Boxer, but my goodness gracious, this is just everything that you want in a Zinfandel. It is gorgeous, and I'll vouch for Coach here. Carmen and I have had the pleasure to do some cooking for him for some exclusive wine dinners when Biale has come in previous years. We do have one more tonight. We're proud to welcome him back, hence why he's in town. He will be at Carfagna's later tonight doing a pop-up tasting featuring Robert Biale wines, and the single vineyard Zinfandels that he mentioned, they have so much uniqueness to them. They, each and every one of them, you're tasting them all, you're like, no, this is definitely a different grape. No, this can't be the same one, right? And it's truly remarkable how what he's saying, the terroir of the land, right? The way that the land grows. Terroir is a French term on earth, right? This is all of the different facets of this land, the soil, the water, the climate, the way that the sun hits that hillside, all of that adds to that term, what is called terroir. And that terroir fully comes through on each and every one of those single vineyard wines.
That's amazing. Coach, I'm floored at what I've learned from you, especially that incredible story. And you may have hit this, forgive me if I missed it, your top-selling wine, what is it? Oh, yeah, I got to hand you the mic. Sorry.
It is definitely the black chicken. Okay. A lot of the single vineyards that we work with, you can't grow single vineyards. You can't make them any bigger. You can't add any wine from other vineyards to increase production, because then you're really not highlighting the uniqueness of these sites. Now, a lot of the vines that we work with range from 1880, 1890, 1920, 1905. Aldo's vineyard, because you hit on a year, which kind of made me smile, was planted in 1937. So those are limited to just the size. And now, obviously, we keep losing these beautiful old vineyard sites. Mostly we lose them to houses, or Cabernet. Cabernet brings in much higher dollar. But we seek out kind of families that are like our own, that this is what their grandparents planted, this is what their fathers worked, this is what they've worked, this is what their children have worked. And we try to keep Zinfandel on the ground, and we banded together with other Zinfandel producers and formed the Historical Vineyard Society. We work with ZAP, Zinfandel Advocates and Producers, and we do everything we can to educate people on this wonderful grape, and hopefully that it's not falling on deaf ears.
Yeah.
It's easy to see how Carfagnas and Biale are just a match made in heaven.
Absolutely.
The family stories and the history and the hard work behind both to get them going and starting in the same year. It's a perfect fit for our wine shop, which is full of just hidden gems and hard to find wines. And I was talking to Coach earlier, and you were saying that our wine shop has the largest variety of Biale wines than any shop in the United States.
That's correct.
Wow.
And that's something that we're extremely proud of. And it's an absolute honor because these wines are fantastic.
And Carmen, we mentioned this on episode 1, and Sal hit it too when Tom was here. But your wine club has exploded, right? For those that want info on it, what do they need to just come on in, right?
You can come on in. You can go online to our go to carfagnas.com and go to the wine shop tab, and then click on the wine club, and you can learn all about it. We have a few different options.
Yeah.
There's the Cork and the Cellar Club. And then in each of those clubs, you have the option to do all red, all white, or a red and white. And you get 2 bottles of wine a month. You also get 2 tastings for 2 people each month as well. So you can bring a friend or come in as a couple, or just come as yourself and enjoy those tastings yourself. But you get a full flight of wine, and the tastings change every month. We're always trying new stuff. Raj and the team does a fantastic job of sourcing new wines and hard-to-find wines that you're not going to see anywhere else, and they're really going to help you expand and explore your palate.
Well, and that's what I love, you guys, is the wines that you offer are from all over the world, not just one specific winery. Not to diss anyone else, but your offerings are incredible. I haven't seen that anywhere else.
The uniqueness to everything is what really separates us in that wine shop as opposed to other wine shops. We were fortunate enough to be voted Columbus's best wine shop in 2023. It's something that Raj has been working very, very hard. He's wanted that award for many years, and he finally got it this past year. And to testament to what he brings in, that uniqueness, the exclusivity, right?
Yeah.
Some of these wines that, just take Biale Winery, for example, the offering that we have for Biale wines, you can't find them anywhere else, like he said, in the United States, outside of the winery itself. You know, you have to go to the winery to get some of these wines, but if you're in Columbus, Ohio, or Central Ohio, you can come on down and see these wines from Robert Biale Wines, some of those single vineyard Zinfadels we have on the shelf, and each one is just a fantastic product. I mean, I've seen you just can't get enough of it.
I can't get enough of this, Coach. This is just delicious. So smooth.
Absolutely. And it's one of those now that I have fallen in love with so much, and my wife has, that, when we bring it to a party or whatnot and people see that label, they're like, black chicken, and it's like gone like
exactly.
that. You know what I mean?
And connecting all the dots with, Sal, what you were cooking earlier with the bacon wrap fillets, this is what you would consider the best pairing for it, right? The black chicken?
It's a great pairing for it. It is, traditionally steak, you're going to pair it with a heavy, like a Cabernet Sauvignon. You might want to do a what they call Bordeaux blend, right? A Cab Merlot, Cab Franc blend style wine, a Super Tuscan.
Yeah.
Any other wines? I'm trying to think.
Oh, sure.
Bulgaris are Super Tuscans. Those are Bordeaux blends type of style wines, right? Mm-hmm. Bold wines like that. Coach mentioned a couple tasting notes on this, right? The spice, the peppery, right? And that's why this Zinfandel can transition into these red meat pairings for that. So, yes, this is a traditional, right, pairing. You go to a restaurant, they're like, oh, steak, here's the cab, right? This big, bold, juicy Cabernet Sauvignon that you're going to, pair really well with this steak. This is a little bit more of a delicate pairing for the steak, but Coach can attest that it does pair very well.
All right, yeah. There you go.
That's the amazing thing, is one of the things that really endeared me about wine was the ability to enjoy with food. And one of the greatest things is enjoying a glass of wine over food with family and friends, which, is definitely not only an Italian tradition, but it's a great tradition across all nationalities to sit down and enjoy the fruits of our labor. And pairing-wise, Zinfandel is very wide range pairing just with the fruit components, and that's the fun of the game. I implore everybody to try different wines with their steak and see what works best for them, because we all have different palates.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Coach, also one more thing before we wrap up here. Just out of curiosity, does the winery, because my wife and I have gone out to the West Coast and we've done different winery tours and the bicycle tours. Do you guys have a tour for the public?
It's just kind of funny. We built the winery pretty much after ourselves. It's a giant barn. We have like 5 festivals. The vents, let the cool air come in at night and push the warm air out at the top. We do have a wonderful patio. So tour-wise, there's not much to see, but the real thing to see is our view. And you sit in a nice rocking chair with a glass of wine. You have a beautiful view of the valley and of the Vaca Mountains, and it's quite stunning place to be. And as you walk in, you'll pass a chicken coop that is pretty much the Cadillac of chicken coops that Bob designed and built himself. It's like, man, that's the best kept chicken there. It's kind of funny. It's we play into a lot of our heritage and our history.
All right, that's great. Hey, one more thing, Coach. If you're out on the West Coast and you want to check it out, website, info?
Robert Biale Vineyards, we're on Facebook, Instagram, all the social stuff. And but yeah, we're happy to see you coming out anytime. We are by appointment, so you just have to call us. We'll fit you in. It's not a big deal. But we'd love to see you out in California and kind of explore something other than cab when you come to the Napa Valley.
Coach, you've been amazing. I love it. All right, guys. So did anyone try the bacon wrap fillets yet?
So we are just about ready to create this pan sauce. Now, we talked about how we pan fried it, right?
Right.
So the steaks are out of the fryer. They are resting. And you can see the nice puddle of the juices that I've collected here. I'm going to throw those back into the pan. Okay, the pan is getting nice and hot. I removed the excess fat from the pan. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So now you see all the nice, the fawn is what they call that, all the brown bits stuck to the bottom of that pan. We're going to deglaze with the black chicken wine. I'm going to throw back in some of the juices that the steak has from resting. We have fresh thyme. We have fresh garlic. Once that wine reduces to about halfway, it's going to create almost like a mirror look to it.
Why does a fillet need to rest? I mean,
all steaks should rest. I think Carmen can talk about more of this.
Yeah, what does that mean? Why do you want it to rest?
All steaks need to rest, and honestly, anything you cook should probably rest for a few minutes at least. The thicker the steak, roast needs to rest for a longer time.
Okay.
These are nice thick cut fillets. So letting them rest for 10 minutes at least. After you cook. What that's going to do is if you took the steak right off and then started to cut into it right away, the steak's going to bleed out.
Oh, okay.
It's too hot. You need the steak to rest so all those juices can just absorb back into the steak, and it heats the steak evenly throughout, right? So you're going to get it's finishing the cook. You get a cleaner, nicer cook on the steak. The juices stay inside of it. You're going to have a better, juicier, just more flavorful steak altogether.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Carmen, that makes all the sense in the world. Now, Sal, what did you just put in there? Those are mushrooms, and is that right, or what?
That's actually fresh garlic.
Oh, garlic. Sorry.
I got fresh thyme. I'm keeping the sprigs whole, and I just crushed a couple cloves of garlic, and we threw those in the pan. As you can see, the wine is reducing.
Yeah.
We're almost there. I'm going to start slicing the steak, and we'll add the drippings to it.
What he wants is he doesn't want you don't want all the chunks of garlic and the thyme in the sauce itself, right? You want a nice, clean, simple sauce, but you want all the flavor in there. So you can leave them whole. You can just smash your garlic, throw it in there. You don't got to dice it real fine and throw it in there.
Is there much of a difference if you were to dice it up, the garlic?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're going to get the flavor regardless. You want the flavor to pull out of that from into the wine and into the fats that are left in that pan.
Yeah.
The flavor's going to pull out into there, and then you can just remove the garlic and you can remove the thyme, and what you're going to have is all the flavor's still there, but you don't have the chunks and the pieces and everything, so you have a clean, smooth, beautiful sauce that you could pour right over the steak, and it's flavorful, and people will say, I don't know how you did it, but this is the most flavorful red wine sauce we've ever had.
Carmen, you probably just saved someone that's listening that usually dices up the garlic. You made them super happy, saving them a lot of time.
There's a time and place for everything. There's times where I dice my garlic because I want it in my sauce,
Yeah.
you know. But there's times where if you just need the flavor of garlic in there, you don't need to dice it. Just smash it, throw it in there, and then you can remove it.
Sal is cutting up some butter at this point. Is that?
Now look at this, Boxer, and for the people who are watching and the people who are listening, talk about how that has that sheen. It almost looks reflective, and that's what you're looking for.
You could do your hair. A woman could do their makeup. I mean, yeah, very much so. And so now you obviously want the butter to melt down a little bit more. And what's the goal in the end here, Sal, for this is what you're doing in the skillet? What's the goal here? What should it look like?
You're just basically bringing it all together. This should just look almost like a purple steak sauce. The butter acts as a coagulant, so the fat will actually leach onto the butter, and it will leave a very smooth sauce, a complete sauce. You're not going to have the pools of oil leaching off of it. The butter actually coagulates everything together.
It binds the whole sauce together. So you have just your fat, the oils in your fat and the wine, they're going to separate.
Yeah.
So when you pour it in there, you're going to have a very splotchy separated sauce, right? Adding the butter to it at the end there, the cold butter, with the heat off, helps bind everything together and keep the sauce as one.
Look, I know it's not the same with the process that you guys are doing right now, but do you sell that sauce like in the store? Can you buy that?
You can buy the ingredients to the sauce.
The sauce, it's a very hard sauce to keep. This is one of those things where you have to make and serve immediately.
Okay.
If you try to keep it the next day, it'll separate.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
a make and serve immediately.
Yeah. Okay. And in the now type of thing. Gotcha. I was just curious about that. All right. Well, you can always find the ingredients, though, at Carfagna.
We have plenty of Carfagna labeled steak sauces and different sauces here as well. But that red wine sauce, no, that's something that you do with the pan juices and whatever wine you're drinking, and a little bit of fresh butter, herbs, and garlic, right at the end, and you got a perfect little sauce.
Yeah. What is it like, Carmen, for you and even Sal at home? Because we talk so much about what you have here at Carfagna's, what you make. I've watched, this is the second episode now where I've watched Sal cook. But at home, what is it like for you guys? I mean, do you ever, dare I say this, do you order pizza from somewhere else sometimes? I mean, what is it like?
Boxer, we're American. Yes, we order pizza.
Yes, we order pizza. Growing up in this business, I mean, my dad was the chef at home. My mom can cook. She definitely can cook.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Your mom's a sweetheart, by the way.
She is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But my dad was a chef at home, so we watched that. So Sal and I are the chefs at our own home, and we cook most meals out of the week.
Okay.
Now I do like to eat out.
Sure.
We're foodies at hearts, and we love to hit the local restaurants and see what's new and exciting out there. Yes, I order pizza, and yes, I order this pizza too, but I do, and then, working here at Carfagna's, this is my main source of shopping as well. So,
but because of the knowledge that you have, especially when it comes to cooking and your family name and your background, how picky are you when you're dining out and you get something that isn't quite right? I mean, are you hard to please?
You are speaking to two of the most least picky eaters ever.
Really?
We love all and every food. And believe us, the amount of cooking, the amount of food that we handle, we love to be spoiled. So when we go out to eat, it is a treat, and we appreciate everything. And we love to experience, like Carmen said, the local restaurants. And we have some fantastic chefs here in town. And they're always doing so much very unique and creative things. I think Columbus is right on the cusp of a culinary boom with a lot of these very young, modern chefs. And we're very fortunate to be able to experience this here in Columbus. And Carmen can speak more of this, but when we go out, it is a treat, and we love to experience it because it gets our creative juices flowing, and we love to kind of try new things and get new ideas.
I mean, Columbus is a foodie frenzy. I mean, if you think about the amount of restaurants and food places in this town, when you compare it to any other city, like per capita, if you divide the population versus the restaurants, it's incredible what you can find. Wow, look at that. That's not all for me, is it? Oh, John, our account executive, is like, no, some of that's for me, man. Save some for me. Wow, Sal.
I think that there's a knife somewhere around here. I'll grab one for you guys.
Wow. That looks delicious. I mean, it looked delicious even raw, but now even more so. My goodness.
So without further ado, you
Yeah.
guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Yeah, here we go. Get your wine, Sal.
I got some Wagyu beef tallow on the rim of mine, but hey, it just enhances the flavor, baby.
Here we go.
Salute.
Salute.
Let's get a little taste on here. This is the famous bacon wrap filet mignon. We have a red wine pan sauce, fresh garlic, thyme. Let's think about the ingredients here. We have a bacon wrap filet mignon. We have salt and pepper. We have red wine, the black chicken Zinfadel, thyme, and garlic. Those are 5 ingredients right there, folks. 6 if you include salt and pepper. And that's it. We're talking about a very simple thing. We're letting the product speak for itself, and we're letting all those flavors come through and through.
Oh, my. Oh, my. Sal, you've outdone yourself.
I'll be here all week, Boxer.
Wow. I caught a small piece. I just want to go for the big piece now.
Make sure you get a piece of that bacon in there too.
Yes. Oh, I can taste every ingredient. Everything else you added in there that I watched you add, I can taste it. Oh my goodness.
This is, one of our staples at our house. My children love this steak. Our little cousins love it. We have one cousin who calls them Bacon Steakums, little 4-year-old Stella. She calls them Bacon Steakums. And it's a very forgiving steak to make because of how thick it is. So you can grill this on the grill, and you don't feel like you have to be hovering over it.
Smooth
for how thick it is. It really cooks very nice for people who are inexperienced grill chefs. They don't trust themselves with a steak or whatnot. This is one of those items that. If you're worried about cooking something and overdoing it, this is a fantastic steak to really learn about temperature control.
I have to say, Sal, Carmen, and Coach, you nailed it with the pairing. With the black chicken Zinfandel and the bacon-wrapped fillets. I mean, it's perfect. Coach, what do you think?
I just want to take this and go eat it by myself somewhere. And
Coach
savor.
needs to be alone right now.
I need a moment.
What we say last week, whatever you do, wash your hands, Coach.
No, this is the amazing of the pan. The sauce is excellent, and obviously the meat is of the highest quality. And like I said, this is I think you'd be a winner cooking this. The simplicity, 5 ingredients. I'm a huge person on. When I was younger, I used to try to use all sorts of spices and to the thought that enhanced. But as I grew up, I noticed that sometimes it's just salt and pepper. It makes everything great. And so, keeping it simple, and you can be a rock star. I think in your house. You watch this podcast, and you can surprise your wife or your girlfriend, and here's a talent you never knew you had.
That's right. This isn't a traditional Italian dish, but that is the traditional Italian way of thinking. Minimal ingredients and a whole lot of love.
Oh, and I should mention, too, at carfagnas.com, you guys have a plethora of recipes on there. I don't know if this one is on there, but you have a ton of recipes that are on your website. So
You know what? That's a good point, Boxer. I will upload that as soon as available. So for those of you guys listening on, keep on the lookout on our recipe blog that we have on carfagnas.com. Check that out, and we'll put on the red wine pan sauce, bacon wrap filet mignon.
the amount of brownie points I could score with my wife if I made this and I made this right, I mean, I would owe you guys for the rest of my life.
And you got a fun story to talk about with the black chicken, right?
Exactly. Exactly. What a story. Well, guys, anything else that might be missing for episode 2 of Uncorked? I mean, we really unpacked a lot of stuff. This has been so much fun. Coach, I can't thank you enough for your time and coming in, and safe travels back. And am I missing anything? Are we?
You know, I think we hit it all. You know, our butcher shop is open 7 days a week. On Monday through Wednesday, we're open 10 to 7. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those are our weekend hours. We are open till 9 p.m. And then Sunday hours are 10 to 5. So we are open 7 days a week, and we open at 10 o'clock on all of those days. Saturdays are always a really big day. There's always a lot of sampling going on throughout the market.
Yeah.
It is a little bit busier because of that. But, you know, come on over and on a weekend or whatnot, stop by, see us, experience the butcher shop, experience Carfagna's to the fullest. Fresh cut, custom butcher shop. You know, these guys back there, they will cut you anything. There's so many different names for every different cut in the butcher shop, and those guys, whatever you have in your mind or whatever you grew up with and you are looking for that specific cut, they will get it for you. All you have to do is ask. Don't think that what we have in that meat case is the only thing that we have. Those guys, if you want a steak cut thicker or thinner or however you want, they'll do that for you. We are a truly custom butcher shop.
Wow. And Carmen, thank you for your time. I hope you'll join us again soon. Join your brother on this podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Boxer. I appreciate that. I've had a lot of fun. I think I'll come back.
Yeah, it's Carmen's first podcast, too.
It's my first podcast.
Yeah.
We
All
should
right.
plug maybe the next episode.
Yeah.
If Carmen joins back, maybe we dive into our pasta sauce, right?
Ooh,
that is Carmen's baby. He is the one who is. We'll plug this for next episode, right? But
yeah,
Carmen is the one. I'll brag about him a little bit. He is the reason why we are in 30 different states across the continental U.S. right now.
Wow, Carmen.
He manufactures in that little manufacturing facility with 10 other people next to him over 500,000 jars annually. That's 500,000 jars of pasta sauce annually, and that number is growing year over year. And just couldn't be more proud that he is taking our great-grandmother's sauce recipe, which that is true. It's our great-grandmother's sauce recipe, exactly how she made it, and bringing that to people all across America.
Incredible. Congrats, Carmen. Well, I look forward to the next episode.
Yeah, thanks. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll dive into that and talk about the history there with our pasta sauce and where we're at, where you can find us, and why it tastes so good.
Looking forward to episode 3. Coach, thank you. Sal, this filet is just absolutely amazing. Carmen, appreciate your time. And until the next episode, what do we leave with?
Mangia bene.